Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Hughes here. I want to give you a brief tutorial on formatting a Microsoft Word document for MLA 8 standards. In English we use MLA 8, and many of you might not be aware of exactly how to make your Word file do the thing. If you are uploading to my class, you need to be doing a doc or a docx, which is a Word file. If you're writing in something like Pages or a different program, an open source program, something like that, these settings might not help you, but you should be submitting a Word file so you can write in a different file type and convert it online and then upload it. But I would say that to be safe, you will want to open it in Word, so you can do that at the library. They should have Word on all of the computers there, and just check to make sure that the settings are right. So I'm going to show you how to do those settings today. So this is just like part of my desktop, and I'm going to open Word. So this is just going to be a blank Word file that I will center for you there. So this is just a brand new fresh Word document. Word is going to open with whatever default settings it has, which might be weird for you. I just keep an MLA 8 formatted file, blank file on my desktop, and then I, or in my files, and then I can just open it and rename it, save a copy of it every time I need one. If you're an English major, you might want to do that. If you are writing in a different field a lot, if you're a history major or psychology major, you might have a different format that you're asked to use, and so you might want to kind of make yourself a file for those purposes, an APA or Chicago style or whatever your style is. And as you get further along in your major, you'll come to know what those expectations are. So for us in MLA 8, which is the current edition that we use, sometimes you'll still see MLA 7, but we use 8. One of the main things is a text type font. So that means there are certain fonts, and if you can see the fonts here, like you're not going to use Apple Chancery in schoolwork, probably, right? Most people will use Calibri, Arial, Times New Roman, and those are really the preferred ones. Arial, if you can see here, and Calibri, you can see here, are fonts that do not, they're sans serif fonts, so they don't have the little things that hang off the letters. And they're usually preferred for accessibility and for online writing. Print writing is often, people prefer serif fonts if you're reading out of a paper book, not always. But I always like to work in Times New Roman. So I'm just going to go down to Times New Roman. You don't have to use Times, as I said. You can just use, you want to use a text weight font. But I'll choose Times, and then you want to make sure it's in 12 points. This is already in 12 points, but you want to make sure that it is. So that's going to give you letters of the right size. Then we want to have everything in MLA 8, everything is double spaced. That means every single thing is double spaced, but you don't have to add extra spaces. It's going to go ahead and do that for you. So if you go to line spacing, you would choose 2.0, that will be a double space. It gives an extra entire line between every line. If you go to single space, that means there's no extra space between the lines. This would be 1.5 or half of a line between each line. But we want to go to line spacing options, because here's a weird thing that's probably messing you up and you don't even know that it's there. Often, the before and after spacing are off. So many of you will turn in a document and it has a lot of extra space between each line of text. After you push enter at the end of a paragraph. In MLA, we don't want that. So this underspacing before and after should both be 0. And line spacing, you can change it here, double. And we don't want any extra spaces of paragraphs of the same style. Some things will do that. Sometimes if you're working in Google Docs or in another program and you convert to Word, it will add that space, and you don't want that. So if you have downloaded a file, and I'll show you how to sort of format text that's already written. But if you have downloaded a file from Docs or converted it from Pages or something, you definitely want to check that these things are correct. Okay, you can push OK. So that will handle that for me. And then the margins. If we go to Layout, we can see margins here. These margins are probably right. but we always want to check. Okay, see, this is a weird default. It has really wide margins on the sides. MLA 8 wants 1-inch margins all the way around. So 1 inch, 1 inch. We want this to say 1 inch, and we want this to say 1 inch. And then you want the header to have a 1/2 inch. So what this means is the top margin means the distance from the edge of the page to where the writing starts is 1 inch. And the same with the left and the right, from the edge of the page to where the writing starts. The header means you can put extra information up here, and that's only going to have a 1/2 inch from the edge of the page. So this is what we want. 1/2 inch and 1 inch everywhere else applied to the whole document, everything on the paper. In MLA 8, you almost never have to change those settings. Everything is the same, you just apply it to the whole document. So once we have that, here's the basic information that you're going to have on all of your documents for me. Your name, and then you just push enter, and it skips the space because we've told it to double space. Then my name, what class, so English 1310, and then the date. You can put the date you write it or the date that it's due. It doesn't matter to me. You'll notice that everything is lined up here along the left side. That is left aligned, and you can change that here. We don't want to. We want everything to be left aligned except for a couple of things. So you push enter again, then you want to put your title of your document. That should always be centered. So this, where it's middle, is centered. So we're going to put the title in the center. Then we push enter again. We want to go back to left align, and this is where we write the body of our essay. You know, I'm a terrible typist, so bear with me, but right. I'll just put some text in here. This is just random things that don't make really any sense. Okay, blah, blah, blah. This is all just Shakespeare, right? Well, not all of it, but. And so once you get your text put in, I'll give you a little bit more so we can work with it. Here we go. If I can spell, we'd be doing all better. And this is maybe not word for word correct, but you know, I've never played Hamlet. This is from Hamlet. I told you I couldn't type. So I pushed enter at the end of a paragraph, and I'm going to type my next paragraph. Try to get you a few lines here. We'll just end it there. That's not the end of that, but we'll end it there. And we will ignore these green lines because they're annoying. Oh no, we don't want loud. Okay. So for these to be paragraphs in MLA, you want to indent the first line of every paragraph. So if you click here, push the tab. Some of you have just sort of like hit the space button 5 times, which you can do, but sometimes that's off. It depends on your font. You just push tab and it should indent it to a 1/2 inch. So you want that to be a 1/2 inch. So there's 1 inch, so this is just 1/2 inch. Again here, tab. You also can set it. If we wanted a new paragraph here, it sees that I've done that and automatically does it. This is called the first line indent. You can move this little arrow right here. You can move it over, but we want it to be on the 1/2 inch. And the left indent and the hanging indent. Hanging indent is when the line goes all the way to the end and starts on a new line, your words spill over, that's where it's going to go. So you could have the hanging indent be in, but we don't want that. And then this left indent is where it's going to begin, where the main part is going to be. So that's some of what you need to know. And then the last piece that most of you have trouble with is the header. So this is the heading. This tells me the name, instructor, class date, or whose paper it is, what's going on. And that goes just in the main body of the paper. The header is this part up here. This information is something you can put in that can repeat on every page. So we want to put in information here and then leave it, and that way every page has your last name and your page number. You may not have noticed, though, that this has changed me back to the default font. So I have to go in and change this to Times, make sure that it's 12, and we want our header to be on the right. It's the only thing that's right aligned. So we click right align, and then instead of tabs and all this other mess, it's automatically there. So you type your last name, a space, and then you want the page number. Now if you just type a 1, let me show you. I type a 1, I go out of that, and if I go all the way to a new page, it's going to tell me that it's page 1 because I put 1 there. I told it to be 1. If I go instead, and I double click here, it'll let me back in, take that out, and I want to put in the page number. So you'll have to go to the Insert menu, and let me show you, I don't know if I can show you this. In the Insert menu, there is a page number choice, and if I click that, I get this little menu, and it's going to say, where do I want the page number? At the top in the header. I want it on the right. Show it on the first page. Okay. That, come back over here, has given me now a 1 here, and I can click it. You see that it's changed the font back. So I have to double click that and tell it, why are you trying to push Canberra on me? I want Times New Roman. There it is. Okay, now if I go back down, now page 2 has a 2. So that's going to give me my formatting. If I come to the end of a page and for some reason want a new section, I just push Insert, and there's a menu that will come down that will say page break. And when some of you add some of your extra documents on to the end of your file, your peer review and things like that, you might want to do this Insert, break, click page break, and that will automatically start a new page. It means if I have something here and I'm typing, and then I have a new line, and I want the second hello to be on its own page, Insert, break, page break, and now there's my first hello there on page 2, and it'll give my last one on page 3. So hopefully that helps you. Here's one last thing I'm tacking on at the end that might help you as well. This is just a random speech from Macbeth that I copied into this Word document. And so we can see applying these changes I've shown you. So the first thing is this is not in Times. So I want to push Command A or select all and change my font. And say we want Calibri. Cool. Now it's in Calibri. It's in 13.5, which is weird. So let's change it to 12. And then this spacing. See, there's space here. And then these lines are all on top of each other, but there's extra space here. So if I select everything, I want to go into this spacing options. And I say, oh, my after spacing is at 6. It should be at 0. But my line, so if I hit that, right, that's going to give me, it takes out the extra space, which I don't want. And my line spacing should be at 2. There, everything is now spaced out the way that it should be. So that's how it should apply to your documents. So as always, if you have questions or issues, shoot me an email or a message on Canvas, and I will see you online.